early, so a very interesting poll. Let's see what happens. Waiting on the green flag here. This is a bit of an older version of the track, so sorry about the cheese. There we go, green flag. The starting order, I believe it was, what, Detail in the front row was Detail and Luke, and then Real Deal. And this corner is going to be huge. Side by side. And Real Deal's going to take it. Already into second. Fucking try. Detail with the early lead. Real Deal's second and Luke in third. And remember, Detail and Luke can finish in the back. They're fine. Real Deal finishes in the back. He's out. Definitely in the worst situation out of these three drivers going into the final three. The only driver with one life left currently. And interesting that Roman went out in the last race, because if Detail lost a life and then Roman races here, he's also pretty decent at this track, we could have had a very, very interesting continuation for the Final Four. But obviously that didn't happen, so don't want to dwell on it too much. But just an interesting thought. There's going to be a lot of those to discuss at the end of the night here, what ifs and stuff like that. Well, because Detail's opened up a pretty big gap, but Real Deal and Luke are still very tight. And you know that Luke's not going to be given any ground here for Real Deal. Going to stay on his yas harder than Roman on some dude's yas right here in this race. Luke going with the strategy of imagining that Real Deal is Clatton here, and that is working. As you can see, he's been in Yas sniff position the entire time. So far that strategy is paying off. Will it eventually become too distracting is the question. As you can see, Detail still with a pretty solid lead. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be doing the hardcore commentating for the whole end races, because just want to let you enjoy it, because it is pretty intense. Detail still with the solid lead, and Luke's still very close on Real Deal's bumper. Definitely no comfort here for Real Deal. None at all. Luke's been pretty much in striking position the entire race. Real Deal's starting to open up a little tiny gap, though. And finally starting to get some breathing room. But plenty of time remaining. Both drivers as well, like the first lap I think Detail got a pretty big gap, but since then Real Deal and Luke staying pretty close with them, not letting them get too far away. Ooh. Interesting run right there, and just like that, Luke is back right on Real Deal's bumper. This battle's not yet over. Oh, man. And unfortunately, that time, look at that. Luke with a terrible run on the Rumble. And that is a bad crash late in the race here. Maybe several times just barely holding on to those two lives. This may be the first life lost. Unless something crazy happens here for first or second. Detail's still looking pretty strong for that win, though. Still has held that pretty much that same gap on Real Deal the entire race. Oh shit. And literally pretty much, wow. Did you see that? Pretty much the exact same thing that happened to Luke happens to Detail the very next lap. That is kind of weird. But unfortunately, Luke wanted to see that happen to Real Deal. Detail had too much of a gap, and it's not going to benefit him. Real Deal's going to move into the lead. Detail now in second. Luke's still in third, and the gaps are the farthest they've been stretched the entire race. I think maybe even on the final lap here. So this may be it. Interesting how that happened. That was like the exact same crash. That was actually really weird. So just really unfortunate on the draw there. Does it happen to Real Deal this time? It does not. Expecting it to happen again. And that is it. Real Deal takes the win at Guerco, Detail second, and Luke third. So no elimination yet here at Guerco. I think has seen it and maybe run a little bit. And Detail, on the other hand, as far as I'm aware, is his first time ever experiencing it. So, like I said before with the Roman track pull, where I was like, oh, that's a big track pull. This is another one where this track pull may keep the night interesting. So we're going to do a nade start on this. It is in the air. Boom. Green flag here for one of the final races of the top three. Remember, there's still a lot of action here, and I'll show it off here. I tried to say this with all the tracks. I'll say it with this one again. This is another track that is on the voting for next season. So, you know, keep that in mind. Again, like, not the best showcase. Same thing with Alzetta. Not the best showcase because, of course, we're down to 3 people here, so you don't get, you know, you don't get a realistic look of how this track would race. But if you like the track, there you go. If you don't, there you go. This is one of the tracks on the new GP votes for next season. Another go-kart. It's crazy how almost all of the go-karts, almost all of the go-karts got picked, which is actually insane. Really mixing up this elim tourney. I'm also glad that we got some go-karts really early on, and then we got another go-kart here at the end to see the difference. Like, I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, shout out to Opix for the doc updates. I'm going to say that now because we're getting pretty close to the end here, obviously. And as you can see, early start. Luke and Real Deal looking pretty solid. And Detail with some work to do in third. Oh, man, that chicane. Oh, little contact, but they keep it, honestly, like, relatively clean. Luke and Real Deal holding on to it. And this track, just like some of the other tracks that we've shown, is a real cheech clencher. A lot of, just like Kings Canyon, a lot of really tough chicanes in this track and a lot of really tough sections. This section right here, I'm going to call this one the Cheese Bonner. How many Cheese Bonners have I used at this point? This one is extremely tough. Extremely tough to hit at full speed and cleanly. And would be absolutely insane with 16 people, I must say. This track in general, all the go-karts would be crazy with the full lobby. I'd love to see it. Because all the go-karts that we raced in the elim tourney went pretty well. I think Bushnell was the only one that unfortunately did not get to get raced, which is sad because I wanted to see them all happen. We got so close. I'm surprised that we got 3 out of 4, though. That's actually pretty crazy. But with that lap, Luke opens up a pretty big lead. Real Deal second. And Detail, he's in striking distance. He's not too far back in third. Oh, it's a tough chicane run, though. Again, Detail trying to adapt to this track as fast as he possibly can. Can he make it happen? Or will this, I kind of hope it happens because it makes it the most interesting. Will this be, after this race, now a one-life affair for all 3 of these drivers? And I will fix the Z fighting if we do race this track because I did not realize it was that bad. Did not look that bad in Forge. Oh, Luke definitely with the best. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, may have to look into some adjustments here because an unfortunate run in the cheese bonner is going to leave Detail stuck. And I think that's safe to say. That is curtains. It is going to happen. I think we're going to race a couple more laps here, but that is it. It's pretty much between first and second now for starting position. Detail is going to lose his first life of the tournament as late as he possibly could have. Well, I guess technically not as late as he possibly could have, but pretty damn late. At the same time, though, Detail the last one to lose, or the last one to lose a life. Does that bode well for him? Is he still the favorite, considering he's been the most consistent going into this? And also, because I shouted out Roman with the by lighting and Yaddle with the lights and chat on Kings Canyon, shout out to Fireball. Helped me a lot with the aesthetics on this track. I did maybe like 80% of this track, and then he helped out with the final 20 with a lot of the fill-ins here with the aesthetics. So, gotta shout him out for that, because I was pretty stuck, even though I had a really good time forging the layout for this one. And like I said, I mean, Real Dull just wanted to keep it going, so we're keeping it going. But, I mean, the results, just kind of like that Guerco race, are pretty settled at this point. Getting really competitive here in this top three. The track pull is becoming more and more important. I think maybe the final... No, there might be one more. One of the final luge tracks in the lineup. So, if one of those luge tracks ends up getting... If the other one gets popped, that could really shake things up. But is it going to happen? Can you get that twice in a row? I think the odds are definitely not, but it could happen. And I think this might be the last lap here. God damn it, boys. Just end the fucking race, dude. Like, come on, dude. Last lap. Imagine if somebody, like, flew into those spikes. That'd be hilarious. But pretty much a parade lap at this point for Luke. Going to take his 4th win off the top of my head of the tourney. And not a better time to take it, unless the next track is a GP again. Then there definitely could have been a better time to get this win, because you don't want to be starting in the back. There you have it. And definitely, I think after this, definitely the 3 drivers with the most wins in this tourney in the top 3, which is what you would expect. But I mean, there could always be a scenario where somebody just is on the brink every time and doesn't get many wins. But I think it's confirmed now after this dub that these are the 3 drivers with the most wins through this run of the tourney. And there it is. Luke takes the win at Lake Michigan. Real Deal's going to come 2nd. And Detail, in a minute, will become 3rd. There it is. Oh, no. Let him finish. There we go. No elimination quite yet. We're really holding out. But next races, guaranteed elims. Guaranteed 2 races remaining for the elim tournament.